The reading is from Luke chapter 24, and it's the story of the resurrection of Jesus. But on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they came to the tomb, taking the spices that they had prepared. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they went in, they did not find the body. While they were perplexed about this, suddenly 2 men in dazzling clothes stood beside them. The women were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground, but the men said to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here, but has risen. Remember how he told you, while he was still in Galilee, that the Son of Man must be handed over to sinners and be crucified, and on the third day rise again." Then they remembered his words, and returning from the tomb, they told all this to the 11 and to the rest. Now it was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary the mother of James, and the other women with them who told this to the apostles. But these words seemed to them an idle tale, and they did not believe them. But Peter got up and ran to the tomb. Stooping and looking in, he saw the linen cloths by themselves. Then he went home, amazed at what had happened.
Raymond, I remember years ago reading a book with a question, who moved the stone? But as you've been reading now, actually the question that is asked of this passage is why do you look for the living among the dead?
Right.
And I wonder if that's not a question that we can sort of start and get into this passage a bit on Easter Day and this Easter season.
Yes, well, if you enter into the passage, the fact is that the stone isn't there anymore and that the tomb is empty. Now,
it's sort of immaterial in a way.
It's immaterial, yes.
It's matter-of-factly stated.
That is the given.
Yeah.
That's the given. But the question is, what does this mean? And the whole point of the messenger, the people in white, the angels, is that they've got the message of what this means.
Angel does actually mean messenger, doesn't it?
Means a messenger.
Yes, we forget that.
Yeah.
These are messengers of God.
These are messengers of God.
So what is the message?
The message is that he is risen. He is not
risen.
here.
And so what?
Yeah.
So what?
But that's already a whole lot to get your mind around.
It's pretty big.
And it's pretty big because in the passage, it's a group of women who've come to embalm the body with various spices, who find that the body is not there, and they get the message, and they tell it to the apostles, who think it's an old wives' tale.
Yeah, literally. Yes.
Yeah, it's a wives' tale.
Yeah. Idle tale.
An idle tale. And Peter is the one who takes them seriously and runs over to the tomb to see for himself. And he sees that the tomb's empty, but that's where the passage breaks off.
As a preacher, I mean, both you and I have preached this passage many, many times. I often feel I don't really need to preach about it because the story is so powerful in itself, and in some ways perhaps we should just read it carefully, slowly, meditatively, and sit with it. Just as it is, rather than trying to explain or describe or all these other things. Yeah.
Well, the trouble with trying to explain it is that there aren't any human categories which do justice to it.
Absolutely.
That all the human ideas about death or whatever are suddenly exploded and then turned around.
And there's no way of describing it, and nothing to fit it into, is there?
Well, the way they used to do this in the early church, or it's generally thought this would happen, is that on Easter Day they would do a pilgrimage, people in Jerusalem, to the site of the empty tomb. And the celebrant would say, "The Lord is risen." And the reply would be, "He is risen indeed."
Indeed.
So it's just, in a way, reenacting the story, and you hope that the penny drops.
And that just a wonderful act of faith. It is a wonderful greeting, isn't it?
Yes.
Easter greeting. The Lord is risen.
Yeah.
He is risen indeed. What else can we say?
Yes. But it was particularly powerful because they went to the grave site,
That's true.
and which of course is empty, said the words year by year, and this is how the resurrection faith was kept alive in the early church.
And handed from generation to generation, as the women handed it on to the apostles.
Right.
Some who doubted it all. There are still Peters in this church, aren't there?
Yes. Just coming back to what we were saying earlier about simply reading the story or reenacting it as pilgrims, I think what this says is that we've all got theories about what the resurrection means, but we have to keep coming back to the original words and to hear that, and then we start thinking again about it. Because you can get tied up in your own ideas.
Indeed. Let's just end, Raymond, with that great Easter greeting. The Lord is risen.
He is risen indeed.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.